have I got to tell you about?
Mm.
I had a very, very interesting conversation with a lady yesterday who took the course with Nicholas Wilton, which was how I got here. I didn't do his course, but he advertised it, and that's how I came here. And I'd said to her, she's setting up our own kind of training thing here in the UK. But I said to her, did she think there was any value in me taking Nicholas's course, and said I'd also been on this course with Alexis, and she said she didn't take the course with Alexis because she felt that her approach to the world of artists, painters in particular, was off. So her expression was off. And she said one of the things that Nicholas talks about is finding your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Not finding your single most important client or working out who your avatar is. We are, in a sense, a bit like actors and actresses. We are playing to an audience. And so she said just that mind shift from marketing-based clients to art-based audiences is really what's helped her. And she's flying, absolutely flying. And she's running a course in a couple of weekends' time at her home, which I would love to go to. I can't, unfortunately. I'm tied up with something else. But I just thought that was a really interesting thing for us to think about when we're thinking about where we want to put our art. It's not about finding the one, it's about finding the audience.
It's a subtle shift, just in verbiage.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Just a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because what happened as a result of that, I had that sort of mulling over in my head. I also had a couple of phone calls with Mark. You have a 30-minute call, they want you to sign up. And I had this call with this guy down in somewhere in California. His client was in Sedona. And we started this conversation. And the first thing he said to me was that he'd got this artist in Sedona who he had helped, and that she was breaking it. I can't remember the expression he used, something like that. I can't remember what he said. And he said the biggest problem that she had is that the art business or business in Sedona is seasonal, that nobody shops there in the summertime. And I just thought, I was there on the 3rd of July. I know, because I know we went to Sedona and we travelled up to Grand Canyon, and the first morning that we woke up, it was the 4th of July, and I hadn't appreciated that couldn't have fireworks in the canyon, and we'd booked because we thought fireworks in the canyon would be fantastic. So it's not that I'm good at remembering this stuff, it was just so specific in my mind at that time, and it all went wrong. But I walked up and down that high street in Sedona and it was heaving, and I just thought, I don't believe what you're saying to me. I just don't believe it. But okay, you work with Tony Robbins, let's just keep this conversation going. And he said something which I've heard time and time and time again, but never really heard. And that is, it doesn't matter who your ideal client is. You just start with one. Just pick one. Write your list and pick one. And everybody keeps saying that, write your list and pick one. And I think what my revelation was, I suddenly realized you're all saying the same thing. You're telling us what to do. You're not showing us how to do it. But I also then realized that it doesn't really matter who they are. It actually shouldn't be said like that. It should be said, it does not matter one iota who the person you pick is. Just choose that person and go for it. Ignore the others. Doesn't mean to say you can't come back to them. Just choose one area to focus on. And that realization made me come to a decision this morning that I was going to approach people that build luxury ships.
Okay.
Oh.
That was right. I don't know how that happened, but that idea of honing it down, somebody that can afford it, on one specific area. I'm not going to ignore the interior designers and all the other. That's still going to happen. This is going to be my focus. So I've contacted 6 today. I will do 6 tomorrow. I will go through the whole list of, and I'm just doing Europe at the moment. I don't really want to be traveling around the world. But if I have to travel the world, I will. But it was really, really interesting to me, those 2 things. One, I'm looking for an audience. There's going to be an audience on a boat. So every time somebody gets on a boat, they're going to see my work. And it doesn't matter who you start with, but just literally pinpoint one person and go from that. So for the first time, I know where I'm going.
That's clear, you know.
Yeah.
And going back to the idea of the audience, you know, how many courses haven't I heard of where they say, think about that one person, and when you're writing all of your copy, when you're writing your newsletters, just have that one person in mind, you know, just
have that audience.
But that's what I'm saying. You focused on one industry, one very specific. I mean, luxury. That's so specific.
Yeah.
And then it's an umbrella of an audience. That's what I'm trying to get at. You know. So
I think the thing is that what we're being taught is to think about a person. I don't necessarily think that's correct. I think we need to think about an industry.
Absolutely. Or like you said, an audience. I took a course once, and one of the pieces of marketing research was to look for books on the subject. Go and read the reviews on Amazon. So again, it's the audience, right? It goes back to the audience, you know. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And, you know, somehow, as you said it, I could see your paintings on a ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Me too.
It was like this. It just clicked.
Yeah. You know, sometimes I think those inspirations that seem to come out of nowhere are the most valuable, because they're the ones that we haven't drummed up necessarily in our mind, but might be served to us. I always feel like there's some assistance going on from the other side. You know, from I don't know. You can frame it however you want, but I feel like we have assistance available to us if we will just let go of our total control. And those things that come out of the ethers are the most profound sometimes. If we're just open to receiving that. And yeah, I've got the same thing that Shirley Ann got. I immediately saw your work on exclusive upper 1% folks, that money is really not even a question. That's not their concern. They have people handling that for them.
Absolutely.
So, you know, folks that step onto those boats, and I don't want to call it a boat, it's more like a ship or a yacht, you know, something like that. You know, oh, I like that. Let's have more of that. And their guests, oh, I like that. Let's have a piece of what so-and-so has. Because, you know, it reminds me of my experience with them in that circumstance. Monte Carlo, you know, south of France, the places where folks line up in those ships, in those yachts. You know, I see those folks.
Yeah, I just, it's so, and I see them even bigger, like bigger than what you do. It's just like that. So this is brilliant.
Yeah, those ship designers, those folks that do that exclusive design work. Those
what
folks.
I did was, I thought, I'm not sneaky, but I'm going to approach it from a slightly different angle. What I did was I contacted the really big shipbuilding companies in this country, BEA, Curtis and whatever they're called, the really, really big ones that have managed to weather the whole kind of industrial revolution storm where we lost so many ships. We were known for shipbuilding in this country, and it's just, you know, probably a tenth of what it was. But what I did was I went above where I wanted to be and said, I'm looking for the people that make the decisions about the interior design. Can you help me find those? any information you can give. I just thought if I came down from the biggest guys, then I don't know. It might not be the best strategy, but I figured it's easier for somebody to say, "This isn't my department, but these are the people that you need to speak to," than it is to say, "Oh, I'm not interested. That's my department. I'm in control of it," because it's likely to be somebody who's rather sort of artistic and emotional, and they're not going to be told what to do. So I don't have done the right thing, but that's what I've tried.
That sounds solid.
You know, it's so much more of a strategy than like fishing in the dark online. It is.
Yeah.
So this is brilliant. I'm really excited to find out what happens next.
Hope it works. Hope it works.
Oh yeah, there's a book that was put out many years ago, maybe 30 to 40 years ago. Right, was written by Carl R. Boll, and I think it's Boll. My dad used his strategy to get several jobs that he got. We moved around the U.S. because my father was not afraid to send his resume out across country. So, he'd pick us up by the roots and place us down somewhere else. But the strategy was that you never sent your resume to the HR department. You always sent it to the highest person in the company you could possibly get it to. And that if they liked the very few things that you said in your first line of your letter that you sent to them, when you sent a letter in an unusual sized envelope in a slightly different color so that when it stood out, this is when letters were done. I don't know how you would do it in the email world, but you set yourself apart as much as possible, and then the first line of your letter was always sort of a shocking statement or something where they couldn't put it down. And my dad happened to teach courses at a prison for a short time, so his entry line was, "I've spent time at Joliet Prison," which was enough to shock whoever received the letter that they didn't put it down immediately. Well, that wasn't what he did for a living anymore, but it was his catch line. My point was that he always went to the top of the heap. He never sent things to the middle folks, because if the top person was slightly interested in you, they would take your letter and hand it off. They would hand you off to the people that could have done something for you. And the fact that they received it from the top guy,
they're going to respond.
They're going to respond. So, I think your strategy is on target.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
cool.
So. Yay. Marianne, would you like to go?
I don't have a whole lot to say. It just feels like, I don't know. I felt like I was in slow motion this week, and then I watched political stuff all day yesterday because it was a big thing, and so I'm sort of recovering from exposure to that. I did make contact with the gallery that represents me here. They do want to see the current work, and pretty quickly. So this next week they'll probably get to see that. Beyond that, I haven't got anything else happening. That's a small piece of movement, but that's it.
That's okay. It's a ripple instead of a wave. That's allowed.
It's a ripple.
So if I were to ask you, what would you like to happen? What would your answer be?
I would like it if they took all the pieces that I'm going to offer them. They're all non-objective, non-representational abstract paintings. And they were all done in a color scheme I was told was sort of what the market was hinting at being popular in the next year and a half, 2 years.
Which is?
They kind of are embarrassed to say what it is because it's not what anybody's wanted for a long time. They're all skin tones, really. It's mauve and a plum or an eggplant tone. I actually don't mind having someone tell me a color palette. As long as they don't try to curb what I do with it, I'm happy to work in that arena. So the last thing I did was I showed them red, white, and blue paintings, and I don't do red, white, and blue. But someone made a comment to me and asked me, a really high-powered real estate agent locally, whose business logo happens to be red, white, and blue. She thought she was opening an office with someone. It turns out the person had already gotten the office open and had all their artwork in place, so I wasn't considered to hang work in her office. But she got me thinking about that red, white, and blue, and I ended up doing a series of 4 3 by 3 foot paintings, abstracts, and it was just to see if I couldn't flesh out something with an odd color combination that I was not used to using, and I had fun with it. So when I delivered them, I thought, well, this will be interesting to see if anybody even reacts at the gallery, because nobody said anything about wanting to hang things in that color combination. And I believe they were being sincere. They really liked them, and they made a point to hang them for a show when I thought they might not hang them at all. So they've only sold one that I know of, but they don't tell me immediately when something sells. I hear about it maybe 4 to 6 weeks after the fact. So,
well, when they get round to paying you.
yeah, when they get around to paying me about it, I think that they leave open the possibility of something being returned, because
Yeah.
they don't tell people you can't return it. So I hear about it later, but these are in the same framework, style-wise, just totally different color combination. I have a good feeling about it, but I also leave open the possibility that they might not take them. We'll just see, and I'm not worried about it either way, in truth. I actually might feel completely free to do whatever I pleased if they didn't take them. So that's not a bad thing.
Okay. So, well,
so your question was, what do I want to see happen? Other than I'd love to see them take those. I just am hoping for more energy and desire than I currently have. And it may just all be because I had the negative day yesterday, but this is going to get better. It will.
It will. It will. Okay. I came to the call with the intention of sharing something. Right now, I'm not sure, but I'll still go ahead and tell you.
Don't be shy.
So I had 3 things to share, and they're kind of connected. So I'll just tell you. So the first thing is I found some course, wasn't a Facebook ad, and I was curious. I'm always curious. Curiosity is always killing this cat. She's always getting into trouble. So it was this guy who, he's an artist. He owns a gallery, and he's a curator for a community gallery in Chicago. So I was intrigued with his, I was intrigued because I was like, okay, this is a real working artist. So I wanted to hear what he had to say.
What's his name?
Sergio Gomez, I think.
Okay, yeah, I know who you mean.
Okay,
I follow him on Instagram.
Oh, you do? Okay, all right. So there was a boot camp. I didn't even have time to attend the boot camp, but it just cost $20 to sign up for his course. The initial payment was $20, and if you liked what you experienced, then it was $40 a month. And then you could exit anytime you wanted to. It wasn't like this kind of contract thing that we have with Alexis where you have to stay forever. So I joined, and I've been busy this week with all this other stuff. But what I really wanted to share was, first of all, the energy there was really nice. I got a sense of, oh, we appreciate your presence here. Thank you for being here. That's the energy I felt, and I really liked it. But what I really wanted to share was, he's apparently for the past 6 years, he's had this small pieces challenge, like a small artwork challenge, which he has done and which he's invited his community to do too. So beginning in the month of November, and again, I'm new to the community. I don't know what to expect, but beginning in the month of November, there's this challenge with everyone who's going to take part to create small pieces. And the goal of these small pieces is to create some momentum, one. Two, to offer art to potential collectors who are maybe not in a position to invest in larger pieces, or who are new to the artist and it's not going to be difficult for them to dip their toes into our world with these smaller pieces, costing, under $500, but 250 is. And three, he also talked about the possibility of using this challenge to build our email lists, So I've been very intrigued with that. I wanted to share it with you if you were interested. I thought it would be a nice way to create some momentum and have this body of work of small pieces ready to fly off the shelves, come December, So that was the first thing. That was the first thing I wanted to share. And would you, Alison, I with the direction you're going in, I don't know if you'll be interested in this, but is that something you'd be interested in, like join challenge? Yeah. Creating these small pieces and just
I do small pieces anyway.
Yeah,
really
your sketchbook.
I mean, really small.
Okay, well, perfect. This is exactly what he was talking about. Small pieces. I think one year he actually tore pages from his sketchbook and framed them. Like small pieces which don't involve a lot of commitment on our part.
Yeah.
But which would, be a great way to create momentum. Just get some things happening. So obviously I was hoping there would be more of us on the call today, and but I'll still share it in the group.
We'll just tell them that they've got to do it now because they weren't here. They forfeited the right of choice. They weren't here to make a decision.
Marianne, is that something you'd be interested in? Would that be something to get the energy flowing, or no?
I don't know.
You can do it.
Yeah, I hear you. I certainly have collected enough substrate, smaller substrate, with the intention of heading in that direction at some point. So I've got the supplies for it.
Okay.
I've got 8x8 size pieces. I've got 12x12 backgrounds, and I did 2 this last week, but I see them more as sketches for exploration of color. That's what I thought I would use them for, with the thought crossing my mind that if anything came up that was good, maybe it would sell. But right now they're not real strong pieces. They're more just exploration for the bigger idea that I wanted to explore.
Why don't we take it to the next level and commit to doing one a day for the next 30 days and advertise it on our individual.
Exactly.
I did that last year.
But then share each other's websites on social media and say that we're in this together and we share each other's work.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is why I'm sharing this, to create this group energy, momentum.
Yeah.
So
because we talked about this right at the very beginning, wasn't it? How could we share each other's work? How could we get our work out for other people that might not like our work, but would like somebody else in the group's work? And that sounds like a really great way of doing it.
Yeah. So I guess on Monday, I hope there'll be more of us. I'll talk about it again, but I'll still. And I think it would be nice for, even if it's just 5, 6 of us to, again, in my mind, it's just creating momentum.
Yeah. That sounds like fun.
And
I can't commit completely. I'll be real honest with you. I'm kind of hoping the person I'm seeing is physically not as well off as he used to be. The deterioration has been fairly steady, and I'm kind of hoping that I can get him to travel in the next 6 weeks, and for us to go do something we've done before, partly for his own mental health. He's and I'm really sort of, I've left myself completely open without commitments other than this phone call, in order to try to get him to go do something that usually lifts his spirits. I'm not even sure if he's been pushing toward that and talking about it, and yet nothing happens. And I'm not sure if it's out of his own fear that he couldn't handle it, or what. But that's the other side of what I'm doing right now. It's one of the reasons I have not been pushing heavily in anything, just to try to leave open the possibility, because there'll come a time when we can't travel. So that's the other thing. I'm balancing out my desire to work and push my business forward with a hope that I can get him to do something that will lift his spirits. So there's part of what I'm dealing with. Other than that, I'll make an attempt to do some small pieces and see if I can't keep up with you. But an absolute promise to day-to-day painting, I'm not going to do at this point, because I don't like to make a promise unless I'm pretty darn sure I'm going to keep it.
Okay, that's fair.
That's where I'm at, but I won't abandon you all.
3 a week or 4 a week instead of 1 a day.
You're going to push me. How about I see what I can do, and I'll make an effort.
I have to say, Marianne, I admire your ability to say no nicely. I'm not very good at saying no.
Well, I've gained that because I realized that there are other parts of my life that need development. Most of my life has been put toward work, business. What can I make money off of that I spend my creative time on? That's been my life. I haven't been very good at, since I got divorced 23 years ago, I have not been very good at keeping relationships. I'm better at friendship, and my relationships fall into friendship only. And that's sort of where we're at that point at the one I'm in now. And I feel for him, and I just want to see if I can't, at least while he can still move around and still possibly fly, if we can't go do some things but when he gets to the point where he can't do this anymore. So there's my.
Does he have any artistic ability himself?
Do you know what a Mensa is? A person who's incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
He's a creative, but his medium is different. He's an electronics engineer, a computer person who's spent his life sitting at a desk. And for that reason is not a very physical person. And all of that has come to call. Now that he's in his mid-60s, he has all kinds of health problems from sitting most of his life. They've started to tell us that that's just about as bad as smoking all your life if you sit in a chair. Yeah. So now he's facing those things, and he's incredibly creative, but it's in a whole different realm from me.
Sounds like my husband. He's electrical engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, completely different. I was just wondering whether or not there was a way that you could draw out an artistic side in him, where you perhaps go out and sketch together or something like that. But
well, he can't. That he's mentally just got to have 4 or 5 things going at once.
Yeah,
he's got ham radio going. He's got the police scanner, the marine scanner, the old movies playing on TMC or TCM, whatever one it is, on cable. He's got his computer going in front of him with other screens. He mentally must have an extreme amount of stimulation. He won't go sit in a movie theater because it's not enough happening at one time. He won't sit still for that. He'll only sit still when he has all his screens and all his data coming at him. So
you're describing my husband.
Yeah, obviously you're married to the same man.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, it's like all the screens on, the TV's blaring. There's like all this. When I come downstairs, I'm like, what's all
Turn something off, please.
Yes. Oh my.
I don't use the word please. It's like turn that bloody radio off.
Well, since we don't live together, if I go over to his place and say that, he'll ask me to leave. So,
well,
we don't spend as much time together anymore. Because I've become, like you, Shirley Ann, extremely sensitive. And I just can't be around the constant barrage all the time. So we dole out our time together, during the week. We go out to eat. But anyways, I hear what you're saying, Allison. I'm just, the thing he likes to do is go to wineries, to wine tastings and things like that. That is one of the things that we do. Or now since we have a lot of craft beer being made in our city now, it's the newest thing here. Last Saturday we went from place to place tasting their beers. So I mean, it's one of the things that he'll do with me. So look, I'm trying to piece a life together here.
For my husband's birthday this year. Yeah, this year. My husband's birthday was 61 this year. And what do you buy for somebody that's 61 that's got everything? I bought him a membership to our local vineyard and their winery. So you can go on all the tasting tours that you like. You can get half-price tickets to various things. I mean, yeah, it's definitely the same man. You sure he's in the country at the moment? He's not here.
Yeah, I am. I'll share his picture. I'll share his picture with you all so you can see who I'm dealing with. And I'll also I'm going to show you a few pictures of some of the abstracts I'm going to present to the gallery.
Yeah.
And in the color scheme, and it will be a phone shot. It won't be my professional shots that I'll have done by somebody else, but it'll just give you kind of an idea. I'm working on a grouping that will coordinate. That's all. Okay. So they could place them around the same space.
Yeah, I'd love to see them.
Yeah. Shirley Ann, you've got 2 more points you wanted to raise.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, I do. So the second and the third, well, they're all connected, but they're more personal. So I think I told you that I had found a coach a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you were here, Allison. Were you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's been incredible just being, what I realized, what I've been longing for the most has been support. I don't need new information. That's not what this has been about. And I've found this, I'm calling it a cocoon, where I'm feeling very supported. And the reason why I'm talking about it is, how do I begin? All my life, the things I desired do not come to me through conventional ways. Nothing, even when I had a business with staff and everything, nothing I really wanted came through, like even money, yes, of course, people paid for stuff, but the greatest things that have happened in my life didn't come through conventional ways. And this course I'm in involves a lot of meditation, and I'm not a very spiritual person. I'm not, And this life of meditation and visual, like these very deep practices, are not my norm. However, I've committed to, because there's a lot going on in my life that I want to change. I'm desperate to change a lot of things. So in going deep and journaling and writing, I feel like I've been suffering from amnesia since I became married, and all of this journaling and writing and going deep is reminding me of who I really am. And I had this realization that I was given the gift of this, $27 a month person, right? Because of what I've been giving here. This has been the story of my life. When I'm able to give with no agenda freely, I receive what I need, And I just realized this so strongly. And I'm sure I've told you that my life is very isolated. Sometimes I can go on for weeks, and my son and my husband would be the only two people I would come into contact with and talk to. So I'm sharing this because I need to I need to find a way to give more, because I want more. But again, with no agenda, if that makes sense. I think about the day I posted whatever I posted in Alexis's group. I didn't have a plan. All I was feeling was my own frustration. And then I also realized that there were so many more people engaging at the beginning of the course. And towards the end of the course, they had all disappeared. So I knew for a fact that I wasn't the only person who was feeling this way. So whatever I posted, I didn't know it was going to become this, but I'm going into these details to share that um, I need to find ways to make my magic. My magic is very um, when I think about my husband, I feel like this life that I've been living in the desert. Um, he thinks I'm very naive, gullible, vulnerable, all these things. And so I think he goes out of his way to protect me from the world. But at the same time, it's as if he's cutting off my supply, if that makes sense. So when I was sharing the challenge, I felt this desire to tell all of us that yes, I love our calls. I love the fact that we can come and share what we're doing and share what we want to do. But wouldn't it be amazing if we could have some wins? Some wins, and maybe wins are going to be different for everyone. For me, a win would be, you see, this is where it gets murky. I want to say a win would be selling, but the truth, which I'm uncovering, is I need to get back in the river, if that makes sense to you. I feel I've been in the desert, and I am in the desert. I am physically in the desert. And I just need to get back in the river. So I don't know what I'm asking you for, but I'm asking you for ideas, ways, support, whatever it takes to lead me back to my river, because I think I'm at the end of my ropes right now. And I've been chasing all of the conventional stuff, and it's not working. And I have to know now that it's not going to work. I need to get back into my magic, so
something popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this, and I'm now getting feedback. But anyway, mothers of the bride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Could you not target mothers of the bride who will want to feel beautiful and gorgeous for their and mothers of the groom, I suppose, as well, but that age group of women that want to look beautiful for their daughter's wedding?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And kind of go into partnership with a partnership or in league with wedding dress shops.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not competing with their business.
No. Mm-hmm.
You're somehow you're adding value to their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and mothers of the bride have always been in the past, they were my people, because they were the ones paying for everything.
Yeah.
So I always taking special care.
So the thing to do would be to have a stand at a bride show.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the way
those happen. Yeah, it seems like in our area, those shows tend to happen in like November, December, January.
Yeah.
For people who tend to want to get married in June, July, August. I mean, it's like 6 months ahead of time those things happen.
Yeah.
But they're well advertised on TV, and I haven't been to one of those in got over 30 years.
course.
But yes, I know they're well attended, and I know they're exciting places for all those people excited about making that happen in their life in the most wonderful way possible.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I
Because
will.
whereabouts exactly are you, Shirley Ann?
Pardon?
Whereabouts? Where do you actually? You say you live in the desert. Which state are you in?
In California. It's called, the town is
Okay.
called Victorville.
It's called what?
Victorville.
Victorville.
Victorville,
I'm
California.
going to look it up.
Yes. There's nothing here.
Well, you're there.
You're there.
No.
Victorville. Okay. I've not been to the state of California.
Okay.
I've got close. I've been to Phoenix, but not to California.
Yes. So I want some more wins for us as a group. That's what I'm coming to. I want some more. We
all need somebody to have a win, don't we? Because it'll make the rest of us feel.
Yeah.
I'm just having a quick look to see if anybody's come back to me.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I kind of can relate to what you're saying, because when my head says what it wants, it's sales. When my heart says what it wants, has nothing to do with sales. It has to do with authentic painting and getting the flow going, and that stepping back into the river. That's a very good metaphor. Yeah, because I see that to me is an image I've used for many years, of being in the river and not grabbing a hold of anything on the side so that I drown myself. It's the need to flow along with what's going, and your unconventional solutions. For me, that's a spiritual statement, because the unconventionality of things, when they don't appear normal in everyday, in what our culture says is normal, I think that we live as artists in the unconventional. We live in the space where we can't always explain why it happens the way it does.
No.
But, if you're tuned in and everything's going well, you're living in that space. I'm living in that space. And you know that if you put the energy in, it's like those ripples, Allison. If you'll drop those pebbles in, you really don't have control of what the ripples hit, but they hit things.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is do the work and keep the action going, and things will happen.
Keep going.
Absolutely.
It's going to take time, but just keep plugging away at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I can see you with all your beautiful flowers in your hair, chatting to people at a stand at a wedding fair in Vegas. Because they're there.
Vegas.
Can't be that far.
We're just about 2 hours away from Vegas. So
there you go.
They are not a problem. Right. Tell us when you're going to be there. We'll fly in to support you.
That's good.
All right.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Definitely can do that. I'm going to look up Victorville, because one of my sweetheart's favorite things was to fly into Vegas and rent a car and drive into California. He likes being in the middle of nowhere. Okay. He likes Death Valley. He likes the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada. He likes, going up to Tahoe or going down and taking the lower pass across the state around the central coast area and going out to the wineries. This is what we used to do a lot of. But, so I'm going to find you. And one day, if you're still there, when you show up.
I don't want to be here.
I just put Victor Mill CA in, and do you know what the second thing on the line on Google is? Airplane graveyard. Now there is the most amazing photographer called Edward Butinsky, who took photographs of. He's a social photograph without being a political photographer. So you live near the graveyard.
I don't want to be near the graveyard.
It's an amazing place.
I don't want to be here.
You are so lucky.
Maybe anyway. For a photographer, One
of those places I've always wanted to go. Okay, let's see where you are.
Yeah. So yes, I really want us to. You see, this is where it's the push and pull between heaven and earth. you know, I want some wins for all of us.
Mm.
And selfishly, I'll just say it, I know it'll come back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's the river.
What goes around comes around. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's getting into the river. I need to be in the river. You know.
There's not a river near you.
Mm.
Yeah, you've got Big Bear Lake. Go and jump in there.
Oh, goodness.
Mm.
Oh dear. Sorry.
No,
You must be used to me by now, though.
yes.
You know, another metaphor for what I think you're asking us to do is continue priming the pump.
Mm.
You know, when you give, every time I would give, and sometimes when I was down to my last dime, I would go to the Red Cross and give platelets because I figured that was the most valuable thing I could give at the time. And that I would just believe that by giving something to the universe would turn around and give me something back. Well,
yes,
you know, that's basically what the idea is here. And you know, if we put down the theme of continuing to prime the pump, you know, that we are giving something that's needed. Obviously, Allison, you've definitely put in your time giving some things to charities. Looks like you've done a lot of that.
Yes, those are incredible. I've been meaning to ask you, what's the structure that you painted? What is it?
They're made out of fiberglass.
Fiberglass. Wow, those are incredible. So
yes.
Sorry?
Who made the actual structures for you to paint on?
Well, the one, I believe the company that makes the ones that we buy in the UK is based in Poland, but the guys, the company's called the Jolly Roger.
Okay.
And they do all sorts of, you know, heraldic and...
Yes, you know, when you were talking about them, I thought you were talking about these tiny, you know, like, you know, and then when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's incredible.
I have to say they're hard work to do, but they're fun. I love it. I love doing it. And we've now got a plan together for because I went to the auction on Wednesday evening. So we raised £14,000 at the auction on Wednesday evening.
Wow.
And then there are 3 more to be sold. We have a big charity in the UK called Children in Need that happens in November. And their mascot is like a teddy bear called Pugsy. So they're going to it's going to be called Pugsy Hair. So that's happening. And then my one, we are hoping to raise £10,000 by selling tickets for a lottery. So fingers crossed that all happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
then next Wednesday I go to the Heart People.
That's
all right.
So I have minutes. The last thing, again related, is my journaling.
You're breaking up.
Oh, what am I doing? My back.
No. You've gone all fuzzy.
Not doing anything. Am I back now?
Yes.
Okay. So again, in my deep rediscover, like all of that. When I started my first company, I come from a long line of dressmakers. I think my mother was the only one who didn't want to be a dressmaker, but my aunt and my grandmother and my grandaunt, you know. And my mother, it was the last thing my mother wanted me to do, you know. So I remember my aunt came and gave me the talk. She insisted that I employ 2 people immediately, and that I never let anyone know that I know how to sew, because if I did, I would never have a life, you know. And it's true. So I followed her instructions and I employed people. I think during the 12 years, I employed possibly over 200 people, like in and out.
My goodness.
And in my journaling, this also came so strongly to me that I need to employ people. Right? This whole idea, you know, somebody describes it as the American's rugged individualism is not going to work for me. Because it's been something I've been trying to adapt to, and it's obviously not working for me. And now more than ever, I think this life in the desert has developed a deeper sense of compassion, because I think up until this period of my life, I think things have come to me quite easily, But then these past 12 years have been, I keep on going back to the desert. It's been the desert in every possible way. So I have a deeper sense of compassion, especially for mothers who have chosen to be at home with their children. And my husband is the kindest man I know. That's why I married him. But being dependent on a man is hard. It's hard, So I feel I've developed a greater sense of compassion when it comes to creating employment. If and when I create the next company, I want to create an environment where mothers and women will thrive.
Okay, so baby shows and wedding shows.
I see your boxes. I see your box program where you sent a beautiful box full of lovely things to these women who are at home, so that they have something to look forward to showing up and being a part of.
Absolutely. But again, the reason why I'm sharing this is, how do you even employ? Because again, going back to what Allison said, it begins with one person, And I go back to employing. When I employed those first two people in Ghana, I didn't have any clients. I didn't have anything. I'll be honest, my mother paid salaries for about 6 months before I started going. And I'm feeling so strongly that that is also going to get me back into the river. To take the focus off myself and my needs and my everything, and begin to think that way, creating opportunities and creating employment and creating magic for others. But in a situation where I don't even have money in my bank account, how do I even have the audacity to think that I could employ someone, even though I know that's what I need to do? Does that make sense?
Hang on a minute. Hang on. This is mindset stuff here. What makes you think you don't have the right to? I mean, you say, how can I think I have the audacity to? Well, why not? You can do anything you want to do.
Because I can't pay them. Because when you're employing someone, you're employing them to.
Okay. So maybe that's the second step. The first step has to be find the employment. If it can't, I mean, I know printing costs here in the UK are pretty cheap, so they're going to be cheaper in the US. You get flyers, you put them in baby stores, you put them in wedding dress places. So you've got your two markets, your women that are feeling because they've just had babies, and the mothers of the bride. You've got your markets there. And as soon as you start to get inquiries, then you can start to employ.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because there's a need there. It's not just there's a need there. What you're saying.
So your flyers would be your marketing, in effect. You put them in all these different places. Even if you have to say to the bridal store, I'll give you, for everyone that's referred, and make sure you put on the forms that you put in those stores, a code, so that you know when somebody contacts you which store it's come from.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's the thing that we do. I mean, I've run into this with the Facebook ads. I'm advertising on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. I actually don't know where my audience is coming from, which of those two platforms. So it's a really simple thing to do. But yeah.
Okay.
We'll find out then whether or not you're looking at the right thing. And if you get more brides, great. To put your efforts that way. If you get more new mums, maybe put it in a neonatal unit. I mean, there's so many places that you could put the baby stuff ones, mother and baby toddler groups. And you only need one person to say, this is what I want. And then all their friends want it.
One person.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me share my Um, I don't want to mock it and say woo woo stuff, but that's where I am right now.
Well, woo woo isn't all that bad, you know? I mean, how do we explain where our creativity comes from anyways here's what excited me so much about eventually getting into abstract painting.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I did my former work, everything was planned, drafted, researched, offered for sale, approved, and then I painted it. I loved the first part. I hated painting it. I
Mm-hmm.
loved the design.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when I'm doing abstracts is I'm slipping into a design process. I can't, if I'm really in it, if I'm in the flow, I cannot describe or tell you where that stuff came from. All I know is that it's showing up in the moment.
Mm.
And there's the woo woo because you end up with paintings that you don't know what they were going to be like when you started.
Absolutely. Even
And
with even with figurative, like I look at some of my paintings and it wasn't what I was expecting to come forth when I came to the easel. So
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
leaving room for the design for things to happen as the process is going on. I was reading the back page of one of my favorite painting instruction books. It's 25, 30 years old, but the
Mhm.
woman has a particularly fresh style of what she does. And the very last page, she says, if you want to be a better artist, basically you have to allow the thing to change while it's happening.
Mm,
Otherwise, you've put an image in your head before you started, which
mhm,
may trip you up.
mhm,
So, leave space for creation to happen in the moment. And that's why I enjoy abstract painting. And
mhm.
I'm actually as much as surprised as anybody with what comes up and always thrilled if somebody else likes it because I don't have any guarantee that anybody else will like it.
I think
So
you,
when they like it, I'm amazed.
I think you've given me my question. How do you apply the painting creative process to life? We show up at the canvas and we
Let it happen.
page and then it comes. How do you bring that to life? You know?
Okay. And I'll step you back into my woo woo stuff.
Hmm.
I am a student of astrology, which I told you,
Hmm.
for 40 years, only
Hmm.
because this seems to answer questions I can't get answers for anywhere else. And I'm a person who likes to control everything. And
Hmm.
that just doesn't always help things in turning out well when you control every aspect. You get upset at other people for messing with your control. You know, hey there.
Hi, nice
Hi,
Hey
to see
there.
you. Hi.
hi, Beata. Um, I think you missed the time, but we're glad you're here. Hmm.
Oh,
It was supposed to be an hour earlier today.
oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. We're glad you're here. Yeah. Um, yes, Marianne, could you? Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. See if I can get back on track.
Um,
One of
um,
the challenges of my circumstance through that particular way of looking at it through astrology is the challenge for me in this lifetime is not to plan everything ahead of time,
mhm,
that I need to allow life to have an organic kind of way about it and
mhm,
not make decisions. I have a trouble making decisions, goals years down the road because I'm worried that it will limit me. And
mhm,
that's terrible, so I don't end up making goals. But I have noticed that stuff happens that is more, out of the box, unusual. It's like you saying money came from unusual places
mhm,
because I didn't put a limit on how the ways it could come beforehand. Like it has to come through painting sales. It
mhm,
has to come through a number of ways in which I've decided it's going to come through, when actually money could come from any number of ways
mhm,
that we are outside of what we typically consider.
mhm,
So
mhm.
it's leaving open the possibility for it coming from anywhere,
Mm.
Yes.
not just your form of what you've decided to do as a business right now.
Mhm. Yes.
And when
Yeah.
you're open to the possibility it could come from any direction, I think mentally, I think it puts it out there in the universe like putting out ripples. When it
Mhm,
could come from anywhere, it will come from other
mhm,
places, unexpected places. People will call you out of the blue who you had no idea that were even interested and all of a sudden they're offering you an opportunity to do something. This in my business, this happened to me many times. I'd put my advertising effort in one direction, then I'd turn around and money was coming from the other direction from somewhere else. And it was
This is what my life used to be.
yeah. If you just understand that potential's still there, it has not gone away. It's just that you've sort of got your mind limited to thinking it's only going to come from certain activity, from certain interest, and it could come from anywhere. This is always the case. And obviously you have shown this to be true. You've just forgotten.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I have 20 minutes, so Beata, I want to share a little something with you and tell us what's going on with you. Okay. So I shared with a group that I joined this program, and there's a challenge happening in October. The challenge is to create small pieces of artwork, right? And the goal is to create some momentum, right? Hopefully, have a wonderful sell all of the artwork before December or in December, and use the challenge to hopefully attract new eyes to our art, to create some momentum and some synergy. And then ultimately there's a possibility that we could have some people in our communities who may not be either ready to may not be able to afford our larger pieces, or are not really ready to commit to larger pieces. And so having these smaller pieces would be a lovely entry point for new collectors, So this is happening in another group that I'm in, but I wanted to share it with us and hope that for us as our little group over here, if we could, take part in the challenge and create our own little challenge and create some magic here, I think that would be wonderful. So is that something you would be interested in?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Okay, so I'll share some more details. I'll create a whole post dedicated to that. Oh, Michelle is here. Oh, so we missed the time.
I think we mixed up the Monday and the Friday timing.
We missed the time. Oh dear. Oh well.
Yeah, we're just going to have to state it again.
Yeah, when she comes, I'll say it one more last time before I go. So, Beata, would you like to share with us what's going on with you?
What's going on with me? I think probably nothing new. Nothing new happened this week.
You're,
Hi, Misha. I just realized that, I was trying my lead magnets one after another, and none of them really works. so I found that my clients, or at least those who I met until now online, are not really interested in getting printable download, wallpaper for their mobile, or my ebook. So none of them are enough exciting for them to be able to collect email addresses. What worked best, that was my art character personality test. So that was the one which worked for me.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out whether I changed too quickly my lead magnets and didn't let them work for a while, or Probably I should completely need to find out how I should generate leads.
Okay.
So I really don't know.
Okay. Today we've been talking about different stuff, so I'll ask you a different question. So, if I were to ask you, what in your heart, what does your heart want to share freely? I mean, forget about strategy and forget about everything. What would you want to share freely for free?
I don't know really.
Okay.
I'm happy to share freely my ebook. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but probably I need to think about it.
Think about it. Yeah.
What my heart wants to share. That's a good question.
Yeah. I would invite you to think about it. So
yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I have 15 minutes, so I'm sorry. I'm going to rush a little, then I'll leave you to continue.
That's okay.
So, Michelle, hi. Your speaker is off. Your mic is off.
Is it on now?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Hi.
Is it on now?
Yes, it is. Oh, it went back off. You're back. Oh. It's going on and off. Oh, now you're gone. Hello. It's off again.
Am I on now?
Yes, you're back now. Okay.
Okay. Yes. What was the discussion? Am I off now?
Yeah, you're back now. Now we can hear you. But it's
I'm
not
having. Okay. I may have to go because I'm having trouble with the wireless again.
Oh.
I couldn't get on the network that allows us free access. So, and this isn't very stable. So, the one that it's on, because I'm not close to. But anyway, I missed the discussion, so I'll have to play catch up. But if there's a question that you have been asking, what has the discussion been about? I don't want to take up your time since you only have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you haven't gone yet, Shirley.
No, I just wanted to share something, and we'll probably discuss it again next week. But I was sharing that I joined this other group, and there's
I remember.
Yes, and there's a challenge. This is an artist group. This is yet another one. There's a challenge. There's a challenge going on, and in the month of October, where we're being invited to create smaller pieces. And the purpose of the challenge is to create some momentum in our businesses, to create some momentum on social media, by sharing consistently and just getting people excited and engaged with this journey of creating this body of work with very small pieces. And then using these small pieces as an opportunity to invite potential collectors who maybe are not ready to purchase our larger pieces, or just an entry level. And so I was hoping that in our little group we could create our own challenge and create these small pieces and share together on social media, talk about all of us, share everybody's work, just to get some magic going. So
I like that.
Yeah, so this
okay.
is okay. So on Monday we'll will solidify everything. But I just wanted you to know this. And yeah, so that's been the main theme. Obviously, we've all had different things we've been sharing. So, what's going on with you?
Overwhelmed. I did get a new computer Monday night, and I'm just getting on board with it. There are a lot of problems with it. A lot of the files did not get loaded, you know, so I've had to take it back to the people a couple of times to have them re-go through my and reload. It's not what I was getting. So unfortunately, it was a disappointment, you know, but that's over with. I just got to get that into shape, get my course underway, and I really haven't made all that much progress. I did make a little progress on the commission.
Okay.
I hadn't to date, and you know, I got the check on Saturday, did nothing on it until yesterday. So.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I've got that little time hanging over my head, you know. So this would be great. Did we decide on, well, we'll talk on Monday and decide the format of the small works?
Yes. Now, since, because I think you missed the time, we started at 11 your time, you know.
Yeah.
So on Monday, I'm sure we'll all be here, and then we can, you know, can solidify everything and then start, you know, and do what we all can under the circumstances. You know, so yeah, so should I continue? Would you like to continue?
I don't know that I have anything to really add. You know, I feel a little rushed. We found out yesterday in a general meeting. I was in 3 meetings, and I found out that the city still hasn't decided what to do with us. So,
okay.
So they had commissioned another $25,000 study and still don't know what they want. I mean, why do these cities do this? This is about the 4th study done on the torpedo factory to no conclusion. So we're kind of in a, we still have that dread over our heads.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. Patients to artists who don't keep their hours. And we kind of go, okay. Yeah. I mean, we aren't employees of the city. We rent these spaces, pay money for these spaces, and regardless of whether we're here or not here, I mean, do landlords typically say you have to, it's in every individual's best interest to be here? And I said the doors are open and the doors are closed. Now, we had that policy when we had individual leases, subleases with our association, but now the city took our agreements, the association as being our agreements with them. And it just seems, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, and one of those that got a citation was the president. So,
That's
it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So there's a lot of consultative spaces, and I'm just fighting to be able to. I wrote the check for the first time for a new higher amount, which is 21% more than what I was paying for the 2.5 years ago. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. And, yeah, not easy. It isn't easy.
Yeah.
But that's really all. Did anybody have it?
I can't hear you. The line is breaking. Oh boy. She's frozen. Well, I'll leave. Let me leave the recording, and you know, I'll see you on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
See you on Monday.
All right. I hope Michelle comes back, and yeah, I'll just leave it, and then. All right. So have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Have you too.
Take care. I think we've lost Michelle, haven't we?
I think we have.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess we need to be clear on what time we're showing up, because I did miss one of the Friday meetings. So it's an hour earlier on Fridays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to memorize. I'm going to
Yeah.
write it down.
Yeah. Okay. Anything anybody else wants to share?
Nothing, no.
Well, Allison, should we call it a day?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
If Beata doesn't have anything to add, or anything she wants to ask of us.
Nothing, no.
You're all right? Everything okay with you, Beata?
I can hear you, yes. I can
Yeah.
hear you well.
No. I'm saying, is there anything else that you would like to ask of us, or anything you'd like to share?
Nothing for now.
Sure.
Nothing
Okay.
special, yeah.
Okay. All right then. Sure. We'll eat at the original time on Monday.
Yes.
The original time on Monday, okay.
Okay. Well, I wish you well over the weekend.
And you have a good one.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Take
Have
care.
a nice weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.